There's a truth about procrastination that most people never know. That one secret that can shift everything when you accept it. But you'll only find it if you sit through this to the end. Don't look away. Stay focused. What you're about to learn challenges the habits that keep you stuck. And missing this might mean staying trapped forever. An invisible tug-of-war happening inside you. You keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and something pulls you away. You scroll, you clean, you suddenly feel tired. And then, you hate yourself. What if the real problem is not laziness, but a war inside you? You've heard it 1,000 times. Be disciplined. Push harder. Use willpower. But no one tells you the real secret. Willpower runs out. If you depend on it alone, you will burn out and fall back into your old patterns. Carl Jung believed that the human mind is not a single unified voice. It's made of competing parts, some conscious, some hidden. There's the conscious self, the part that sets goals and makes plans. Then there's the unconscious, where fear, insecurity, and suppressed emotions live. When you delay your work, it's not poor discipline. It's an inner conflict between the person you want to be and the part of you that feels threatened by change. Imagine a person who wants to get in shape. They buy workout clothes and plan a schedule. The first few days go well. Then they skip one session. Then another. Then another. It looks like laziness. In reality, part of them fears change. Getting in shape means attention, new expectations, a new identity. That shift feels unstable. The unconscious pulls them back to what feels familiar. Procrastination then becomes a signal, not a flaw. It tells you where inner conflict lives. When you acknowledge both your ambition and your fear, you begin to integrate them. That is where real discipline starts, not from force, but from self-understanding. You say you want success, so why do you keep avoiding the work that leads to it? Jung described the shadow as the hidden side of your personality. The shadow holds traits you reject, such as fear of failure, fear of judgment, even fear of success. When you sit down to work and feel the urge to scroll or walk away, that shadow is active. It's not trying to ruin you. It tries to protect you from discomfort. Avoidance becomes a shield against discomfort. Think about a student who delays studying for an important exam. On the surface, it looks like laziness. Underneath, there's a fear of not being smart enough. If the student studies hard and still performs poorly, that result feels personal. So the shadow steps in and says, "Do it later. Scroll for now. If the grade turns out bad, at least there's an excuse. I didn't have enough time." The ego stays protected. There is also fear of success. Imagine you get an opportunity for a promotion. It brings higher pay and visibility. It also brings pressure and responsibility. Your conscious mind wants growth. Your shadow sees risk. More responsibility means more chances to fail. So you procrastinate on the application. You miss the deadline. On the outside, it looks like poor organization. Inside, it was self-protection. The delay feels safer than exposure. Procrastination, then, is not random. It's strategic. It shields you from shame, rejection, and uncertainty. Once you see that, you stop labeling yourself as lazy. You start asking a better question. What discomfort am I trying to avoid right now? That awareness is where change begins. The more you ignore your fear, the stronger it controls you. Jung warned that if you refuse to face your fear of being inadequate, you'll keep postponing tasks that test your ability. Each delay protects your ego. If you never try, you never risk proving yourself wrong. That short-term relief feels safe, but quietly shapes your future. You say you work best under pressure, but what if pressure is your hiding place? Imagine you have a major presentation due in 2 weeks. You know it matters. Instead of starting early, you wait. You tell yourself you need the right mood. Days pass. The night before, you rush to finish. If the presentation goes poorly, you have a built-in excuse. I didn't have enough time. That excuse shields you from a harsher thought. Maybe I'm not good enough. By delaying, you protected your ego, but you also trained yourself to repeat the pattern. When you bring these fears into awareness, the pattern starts to weaken. You see that procrastination is not about time. It's about protection. Once you admit what you're protecting, you gain the power to choose differently. You do not beat procrastination by force. You overcome it by awareness. Jung believed that lasting change begins when you make the unconscious conscious. Instead of attacking yourself for being lazy, pause and ask why you're avoiding. Is it criticism? Is it imperfection? Is it responsibility? Write the answer down. When you name the fear, you shrink its power. Then break your task into small, defined actions. 1 page, 1 call, 1 step. Small action reduces inner resistance and builds trust within yourself. Clarity weakens fear faster than motivation ever will. Picture someone who keeps postponing a difficult conversation at work. They tell themselves they'll handle it later. The real issue is fear of conflict or rejection. Once they admit that, they stop trying to feel brave. They define one action. Draft the first sentence of the message. Schedule the meeting. 1 step. Completing that step creates momentum. Momentum builds trust. Over time, your mind learns that action does not destroy you. Awareness turns procrastination from an enemy into feedback. When you listen to it, break the task down and act in small steps. You build self-trust. And self-trust is stronger than force. When you integrate your fear, procrastination loses its grip. Jung called this process individuation, the process of becoming who you're meant to be. Procrastination blocks that path. Every delayed task is a delayed version of you. When you avoid your work, you avoid growth. When you act, even imperfectly, you move toward your potential. Procrastination stops winning because the conflict inside you no longer controls your behavior. What if your fear is not your enemy, but your advisor? Imagine you want to launch a side business. Your ambition says go all in. Your fear says you might lose money or embarrass yourself. If you ignore fear, you either freeze or make reckless moves. If you listen to it, you prepare. You build savings before quitting your job. You test the idea with a small group first. Now ambition provides direction. Fear provides caution. You move forward in a stable way. Procrastination fades because both sides feel heard. When ambition and fear work together, your behavior changes. You no longer wait for perfect confidence. Perfectionism fuels delay. If you believe your work must be flawless, you'll wait for the perfect move, the perfect idea, the perfect time. None arrives. Replace perfect with complete. A finished draft improves. An unwritten idea does not. You expect discomfort to move away. Procrastination loses its power because there's no hidden resistance left to sabotage you. You're no longer divided. You're deliberate. Procrastination ends when you stop fighting yourself and start understanding yourself. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." But Jung's genius was to show that self-mastery isn't about forcing control or suppressing emotion. It's about understanding the hidden drives beneath your behavior, so you can lead yourself with awareness instead of reacting on impulse. Carl Jung taught that the parts of you you avoid will control you until you face them. Face your fear. Integrate it, move with it, and you'll never let procrastination win again.